Welcome to Martechify, a community of marketing professionals interested in digital marketing, MarTech, and AI. I'm your host today, Ekaterina Konovalova, and I'm excited to welcome to our conversation Ben Moore, who is the US Managing Director of BeReal. Ben, welcome!
Thank you so much for having me.
Ben, I'm so excited to talk about your social media network platform and how many Gen Z users are using it and the comeback that we're seeing right now with the push against the AI generated images. So definitely want to hear more about what you're doing, what new features you guys have, and just in general, discuss the social media landscape these days.
Thank you. Let's do it.
All right. Well, but first, as always, I ask my guests to share their career journey with us. What inspired you to join BeReal, and how did your career trajectory evolve?
Absolutely. I'm Ben Moore, and like my last name, I'm very French, but just like BeReal, which is a French company. So I've been here now for about a year, leading the US development of the company from Los Angeles. I've been in the social space for about 15 years between Paris, New York, and Los Angeles. I was on the agency side. I was on the platform side, but I've always worked with different, social media companies, including TikTok as of recently, that I left a few years ago to join actually BeReal, because I do feel like it's important to really believe in the vision, the mission, and the product that you're essentially embodying, selling to your peers in the industry. And what really motivated me to join BeReal is exactly that, the mission that we're all on across the different teams across the world that are working for BeReal. So Asia, Europe, and the US, which is also one of our top markets. BeReal is a social network that really enables people, 40 million of them actually across the world, to share real moments of their day. We went viral a few years ago because people were a bit sick and tired of the fakeness of actual human beings sharing very polished, edited content on other social platforms, or so-called social platforms that have become more media consumption platform than actual social networks. And so BeReal is really now the only social network that lets you check in on the people you care about, your friends and family, but also share real moments of your life in an authentic and intentional way, without having to worry about editing the content, worrying about performing for that content, and just letting that spark of authenticity be shared with your friends and family, without thinking twice before hitting the send button and sharing your BeReal on your feed.
And can you explain how it works? Because from my understanding, it takes a picture of you and what's in front of you.
Yeah, that's the beauty of BeReal. We're pretty famous for the front and back feature that essentially takes a picture or a video now, leveraging both cameras of your phone, the front and the back cameras, so that people can see what you see, but also people can see your face while you're capturing these real moments, which is a way to really show that it's you, a human, being real, versus AI or bots on our platform, but we can talk about that later. But also, it's prompted by a notification that comes up once a day, which is the iconic Time to BeReal notification with the famous jingle. And it's really a way for people to be reminded that, sharing or checking in on the people you care doesn't take more than 2 minutes a day. And that's something that is really important for us. We don't want people to spend too much time actually on BeReal. We want them to be able to really share their moments, check in on their friends and family, and go back to their real lives as well, because we do feel like it's really important for our core audience, the Gen Z, to connect in real life and potentially leverage the app as an enabler, as a catalyst of those real life moments. And yeah, it's a trend that we're seeing. We've seen it since the inception of BeReal a few years ago. And now with the rise of AI, the brain rots, as the Gen Z call it, the doom scroll, and the infinite feeds, it's much more of a need for the mental health of our user than anything else. So we're continuing to keep fighting those good fights. And we want people to really leverage the app to quickly check in on the people they care, and then, as I said it earlier, go back to living their best lives.
I have so many follow-up questions, and one of them is about monetization, because as you mentioned, the doom scroll is the main model of Instagram, Facebook, and others, where they're encouraging you to stay on the platform as long as possible. And this way you see a lot of ads. So how do you monetize if the idea is that just spend a couple minutes a day
Yeah.
using the app?
So we're monetizing with pretty much the same strategy as other apps, other platforms, with advertising, but in a way that is not disruptive or that is not actually optimizing for time spent. We couldn't care less about the vanity metrics. We do care about how users show up on the platform and how they use the apps. We don't want to serve them, ads constantly that are not meaningful. We really care about brands showing up in an authentic manner, meaning that we ask them to adopt the codes of BeReal, the creative with the front and back camera, so that people think that it's just their friends showing up. And we do make sure that those native codes are fully adopted by the brands that we work with. Most platforms today are optimizing for that time span, for that doom scroll. They make sure that people stay on their apps so that they can keep serving ads for as long as they can. Us, it's different. We have a very uncluttered space, meaning that we know that our users don't spend as much time on our app as other apps, meaning that when they do come to BeReal, they have a very high engagement rate. It's very intentional, and that's why it matters to show the right ad at the right moment, at the right users. And we do care about having the best creative for that, because we know, and that's something we've proven with Nielsen, a third-party partner, that the ad recall and the purchase intent on BeReal are 25% better than on any other platform. So that's something to keep in mind. It doesn't require hours a day or a lot of time spent on your app to monetize it in a way that is not only helping the brands, but also not disrupting the users. And that's really something that is important for us.
Yes, yes. And let's talk about competitive landscape and new features, because from what I know, it was initially picture sharing, and now you have new features with video recording, and then Marco Polo comes in mind as another platform where you record quick videos. So tell us more about your current features and where you're headed with your research and development team, and how the app is different from other apps available on the market.
Yeah. So just for context again, the most iconic features that have been there since the beginning are the notification, the feed that is blurred if you don't share yourself. Unlike other platforms, all of our users are posting in order for them to see their feed or their friends and family, which is very different from the Meta, TikTok, and so on, where it's mostly passive consumptions of media. That's something we worked towards in order to optimize the usage of the app. So we rolled out the video, the chat. We introduced the monthly recap. What is really cool about BeReal now that we've been around for 6 years is that most users are using it as some sort of time capsule where they really go back throughout their memories on BeReal. So memory is also a strong feature that we've been optimizing for in the past 2 years of the acquisition of the app. And so really the new features are about showing those memories, enabling people to share video with the same seamless way as they were sharing pictures before. There's also the ability to, if you want to connect or add a song to your BeReal, you can do it. You can also add the location of your BeReal, but by default, everything is private. And you can also add a quick legend on your BeReal. But still no upload, no edits, no filters, and more importantly, no AI, because we want people to know that on BeReal, everything they see is actually real.
Yes, let's talk about AI. And now the new law is coming into effect in June, starting in New York, that if any advertiser or creator who is using this content for commercial purposes used AI for creating people, they have to disclose it. And I see that probably other states will follow the suit shortly after that, and there will be more strict regulations related to AI generated images or AI created people. And I can see how the need for authenticity is going up because people now are getting tired of everything being AI. You go on YouTube and every other video is AI or an ad. So tell me more about the trends that you see, and have you seen any big spikes lately in your usage and how people are adopting BeReal?
We have actually, yeah. We've been seeing spikes of net new downloads in the past 6 months, thanks to, or because I would say, the rise of AI generated content that has been really inundating the other platforms that you mentioned, but also the need for people to just connect with each other without, being trapped by algorithms that are really, in a way, manipulating them to stay on their app scrolling for hours every day. And so there is a fatigue, there is a trust crisis from the Gen Z that are pushing back against AI because, they care for their job opportunities, they care for the cognitive dependency that they have to AI. They're all they're a smart generation. And what's really important for them is to be able to connect in a way that doesn't feel like it's being manipulated by an algorithm. And so, yeah, overall, I would say that there is a need for that Gen Z to be able to, again, go back to what social media was invented for 20 years ago when Facebook first came out. And I feel like, yes, Gen Z has all the right to push back, and lawmakers and governments are right to really raise those red flags and make sure that advertisers should flag or should label AI generated content, but also that, we shouldn't, we should limit or those platforms that have been optimizing for engagement and time spent should really limit the amount of AI generated content, the AI slop, as it's called, on their feeds, because it's harming the users. And we did a study, and over 50% of our users feel like AI generated content is really harming their overall social media experience.
I was actually wondering, have you ever seen any cases where people using it for dating? Because so many examples come to mind when people have beautiful, polished pictures of themselves online, and then they see each other in person and they don't recognize each other. So what are the interesting use cases of BeReal? And do you even plan to launch a dating app?
We don't plan to. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most amazing use case of the app. I was mentioning checking in on your friends and family, but it doesn't hurt to be able to use BeReal to check in on your crush, right? And so, yes, we know a lot of people, including very famous influencers that have on other platforms that met their partners, their better halves on BeReal. That's also something we've seen with dating apps where some users are actually uploading their BeReal within their profiles on those dating apps to show that they are not catfishing anyone, they are not filtering any of their best features, their faces, and yeah, they want to show their true colors, and that's essentially what BeReal was built to do.
Okay, and does it mean that you can see anyone? So once you're sharing your content every day, can you see BeReals of other people that you don't know?
No. So we don't serve content from people that you're not connected with. However, if you follow someone or if you're friend with someone on BeReal, you can follow, content creators. As part of this creator program, we've been onboarding a lot of big influencers, content creators on BeReal that you can follow. And so when they decide to share it with all of their followers, which is something that they have to proactively do, you can see their content. But as a user which is not verified, like the average user on BeReal, you have to decide if you want to share your content with all of the people that you follow or that are following you, or just your private small circle of friends that you're connected with.
I see. So tell me more about the creator program.
Creator program is something that we've been investing in for the past year now. We've been dabbling down in France 6 months ago in order to help people that have been losing their voices on other platforms really leverage the best of BeReal. So we put together a team dedicated to onboarding those creators, helping them, understand the usage of the platforms if they weren't familiar with the capabilities that we had, and really make sure that they can connect and grow as much as they want on BeReal, but also understand that BeReal is a platform where showing the behind the scenes or showing their true faces is fine. Being vulnerable on BeReal is what's actually the most important. You don't care about the perfect looking picture. You don't care about the most polished content. What you want to share is, your real self, your most authentic version of yourself. And that's something we've been supporting creators to do.
So does it mean the creators are not necessarily showing their craft, let's say a motorcycle rider or an artist doing an art? It's more very quick snippets or videos of them already being known for doing something, and then they show behind the scenes how what is happening at this moment.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. The BTS, as we call it, the behind the scenes, is really the way for those creators to show content that they don't necessarily show on other platforms, and that's what resonates the most with the BeReal users, like being able to see the people they like to follow on other platforms or content creators that they do appreciate showing exclusive content. That's really something that stands out on BeReal.
Can you name any maybe examples of celebrities using it?
Oh, we have so many now, but in France we have Lena Situation, Inoxtag, the artist, the musician, Big Flo and Oli. Who do we have? In the US, one of our most active account is actually a brand, Dior, that is not just US based, but that is posting every time they have a show. They had a recent show in Los Angeles, and they were posting the backstage of their runway show, and people were very engaged with that type of content because that's content that they couldn't see anywhere else. And so, Dior is really one of those organic accounts that is leveraging the platforms in the best way. We're super happy to work with them as well. We have the PSG team that shows, their victory of the Champions League. We have the community manager of the Cannes Festival, Roland Garros, and so on. So we do have a lot of examples of from brands to content creators that are really leveraging BeReal in the best possible way.
I love it. And now let's go down from this stars to regular people. What is a typical BeReal post, or I assume either photo or a video?
Oh, that's a great question because I don't think there's a typical post. I would say a lot of people like to post at the time of the notification, which is very random based on the geographic, the region. So the time of the iconic time to be real notification is not the same in the US or in Europe, for instance. And so we have people sitting at their desk, cooking, playing tennis, doing sports. We have people studying at the library, or in their dorms, because 85% of our audience is Gen Z, and including a lot of students that are sharing their real lives. So I don't think there's a typical, BeReal. We have people walking the streets. We have people really leveraging the dual camera in a fun way as well. We have great examples of people using BeReal in their everyday moments, and that's what we like about it. There's not a typical BeReal, but I would say the selfie and what you're seeing is definitely iconic. So whether it's you doing any of those actions I just mentioned, or you deciding to play with the front and the back, is also something that works.
Yeah. And after being with the company for some time and learning more about how it's used, what impressed you, surprised you about human behavior that you learned being so close to this social network?
The one thing now that I've been at BeReal for about a year that I would say that stands out the most is how much human beings are craving for a platform like BeReal. It's definitely a space where they feel safe, where they don't think twice before hitting the send button so that they can share their BeReal. And the feedback that I'm really the most proud of, I would say, is how much parents have been sharing with me that they're the most comfortable having their children using BeReal versus any other platforms. That has been really dangerous and addictive in some cases. One thing that I'm really proud about is how we're doing something good for social media, and how we're really building towards that. We're not trying to move away from what made BeReal so healthy, so authentic overall. And that's what stays with me, and that's what really animates my mission that I'm on, spreading the good words and evangelizing the value proposition of BeReal.
Yeah, that's very important because you're absolutely right. There are so many studies about self esteem, mental health, how a lot of social media networks really impact, especially young people, in a negative way. So when
Yeah.
people join BeReal, do you ask them to show ID to verify it, similar to LinkedIn verified badge?
No, so we don't ask them to share an ID. We ask them to, of course, self-declare their age. But you could argue that some people could lie about it. So we do have a team of actual human beings that constantly verify the type of content that is being posted. And if we see that the user is much younger than what they self-declared, we would delete the accounts in order to really minimize the usage by younger demographic. To be fully transparent with you, it's a very small percentage of our audience that is below the age of 15 years old. So the question comes up a lot about labeling AI generated content, but also limiting the age of social media users in the space. And we do feel like it's very important, and we will, of course, make sure that it's properly implemented by our teams, our product teams. But also, we are not concerned about it because, yeah, a small percentage, I think it's less than 2%, is between the age of 13 and 15-year-old.
And how are you growing now? Is it more word of mouth or people are encouraging their friends to join? So, what is your growth strategy right now?
Word of mouth, people sharing, how BeReal has been shipping new features in the last 2 years. The app is much more frictionless, seamless in terms of usage. Whether you're a net new user, so you never use BeReal, and you're like, you decide to install it on your phone from the different app stores, it takes literally less than 1 minute to be fully onboarded, which wasn't the case pre-acquisition. There are a lot of loyal users that have been around for the past 4 or 5 years now that have a streak, a little, emojis that says for how long they've been posting every day. And so we have a lot of those users that have a streak of over 1,000, meaning that they've been posting every day consistently for over 1,000 days. And those guys are our best ambassadors. They are the one really telling their friends that they love BeReal and that the iconic notification is part of a daily ritual. So we do really appreciate those OG fans of BeReal. And overall, I think, yeah, the creator program that I mentioned earlier with content creators sharing their behind the scenes and the rise of everything we know that is going wrong with the other platforms is helping our cause, is helping our case and our growth. So the rise of AI, of course, generated content, the doom scroll, the AI slop, etc. But also platforms, especially in the past month, that have been rolling out features that is essentially a copycat of BeReal. And if you've been looking at it, Instagram just rolled out a feature called Instant less than a month ago, mid-May, I believe, that is really about sharing an instant picture of you with your friends on Instagram without the edit, the filter, or the ability to do anything to it, which is very close to what we do. And we welcome those platforms to embrace, authenticity in any way, because as I said earlier, there is a new era in the space dedicated to the proof of human, again, versus the AI generated content. And yeah, we do believe that it's important for people to know that they can still connect with actual human beings digitally and using our apps.
Absolutely. And it almost sounds like an accountability app in a sense that when you mentioned when people check in and share, have you seen any organizations, Weight Watchers or others, using BeReal app where it seems that a person can check in every day and maybe share the weight or share the progress or smoking cessation, something where it could be used for developing habits of being accountable and consistent with the daily work that they're putting into something? So, do you see any of these case studies?
Absolutely, and it's funny that you mentioned that daily ritual and people participating proactively into the daily posting, which is very much what B-roll is about. So we have a cosmetic brand, and that's an example I can mention. I forgot the name exactly. Maybe it's Caudalie in France or Nivea, but they did this program, this campaign recently with us, where they had someone with skin problems utilizing their product, and they show the progress of using this moisturizer every day for 30 days to reduce acne or whatever skin problems the user was having. And yes, it's definitely something that we've been working on with brands that have been using this daily ritual as an advertising program, an advertising campaign on BeReal, which is pretty amazing.
Very interesting. Ben, that is so interesting. So, is there anything else that you wanted to share with our listeners?
Thank you so much, Katerina, for having me. It's definitely a conversation that I love to have with as many people as possible. The last word that I could leave you with would be to encourage all of your audience to test BeReal and see by themselves how different and how much more healthy BeReal is versus other platforms. Again, the comeback and the rise of our users is definitely cultural these days versus forced. We don't do any marketing. We don't do anything to push user growth, and we do believe that more people should talk about it because BeReal is fighting the good fights. We are on a mission to really help the next generation connect with each other, but also use this app as an enabler of real life versus other apps that have been really optimizing their algorithm to push for people to stay on their apps for a lot of time, and a time that is not an amount of time that is definitely not healthy for their mental health or their overall health. I'm very happy to be working for BeReal and to show everyone that we're doing differently, but we're doing things in a better way ultimately.
Yes, it's a very refreshing concept. Thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you.